Welcome to another episode of JusTalks podcast. I'm Justin Neely. Co-hosting with me is my guy Jason.
What up?
And today, our special guest, QB1 for the UAlbany Great Danes. From Milwaukee, Wisconsin, my guy, Myles Burkett. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate y'all having me.
The first thing I want to talk about is J.Cal Capper is making his first adventure this season, and we are going to Morgantown, seeing Morgantown versus Kansas. Now, the question is, will I be supporting this game? Big question. Now, with this being said, after the disrespect that West Virginia did to my Albany Great Danes, I will be supporting Kansas with Jalen Daniels, Evan Neal, and Kobe Bryant. Kansas will get it back together as we've seen them struggle as of late. They just lost to UNLV. They lost to Illinois. So I really want to see them get back on track because Jalen Daniels is very fun to watch.
You surprised me with the little helmet. I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, I got the props going now.
But I mean, right now, West Virginia is a favorite, 2.5. So
yeah, I mean, it's hard to not put them as the favorite when we've seen Kansas struggle against UNLV, who were 10-point favorites, and Illinois, which were both games they were supposed to win. I mean, when I got these tickets, I thought Kansas was going to be a top team. So it was a little disappointing in their performance here, but I'm hoping they get back together, and I hope they get revenge for the Great Danes,
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, Big 12 matchup, just thinking like not a lot of defense. So two offenses that can have a big game, really explode, put some numbers on the board. It'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Kansas is ball security. I mean, as much as I love Jalen Daniels and explosiveness, I mean, he's been throwing picks like crazy. I mean, he's thrown more picks than touchdowns in his 2 losses, and that's a key factor for why they're losing is you have to protect the football. If you don't protect the football, you're not going to win football games. So I'm hoping when I go there, I can see him protect the ball, and hoping we can see the crowd in Morgantown really be quiet. I don't want to hear any noise. I want to see them leave at halftime. So
empty stadium.
Yep, I'll report back next week on how it ends up becoming. All right, next we got the drip or skip segment. The first thing we got is 2 mouthpieces. This is very popular now in football. I don't get it. So is it drip to have 2 mouthpieces?
I mean, me, I don't wear a mouth guard, so I'm the wrong person to ask about mouthpieces. But, a lot of guys were talking about doing the mouthpieces to match the opponent's color scheme, I guess. Like, that's a thing now. I had some teammates last year who did that, and I never knew that was a thing, but the mouthpieces, and they never wear them. Like it maybe be drip if they wore a mouthpiece, but because they never wear them, just dangling around, I'm gonna have to go skip on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you wear 2 mouthpieces in general.
I don't think that's a good look, man. So definitely skip on that. Next
one we have is the low socks. I've always been a fan of the high socks, but it's been very popular for a lot of skin to be showing now. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big spat guy, so I usually wear the mid. So I like the low socks though, especially when you can kind of, guys start to wear the tights a little lower, and then they have like the little bit of skin showing, and then the low socks with the low top cleats.
That's drip.
That's drip. That's drip.
What about if it's short pants and low socks?
I don't really you gotta be a dog. You gotta be like a skinny corner who's seatbelt and stuff the whole game really to wear that. So I don't know. I'll say drip but it's a drip with like a little bit of skip in it. A little bit of skip.
That's 50-50. I think you gotta have the leg sleeve tatted up if you're wearing
low
low
no
socks.
doubt. Gotta have tats. If you're wearing low socks, gotta have tats.
Now, quickly, got to give a quick shout out to former Finn Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy 2 gloves. Is QB 2 gloves drip or skip?
No. If you, unless you, like, barring a rain game where you got to wear like the golf gloves to grip the football, different. But I've never really understood the glove, especially Kenny Pickett or like Teddy Bridgewater, like wearing the glove on the throwing hand.
Yeah, 2 gloves.
I'm just thinking about like the sweat on the ball and then ball slipping out the hands with the gloves on. That's crazy. But I'm gonna have to go skip for that one.
Now another one that's becoming more popular is like the baggy long sleeves under the jerseys. What do you guys think of that?
That's drip. That's my drip. As soon as it starts getting, I'm not from New York, but I know it's gonna get cold at some point. I'm from Wisconsin, but once it
it's gonna get cold.
once it starts getting cold, that long sleeve and it's loose and it'll be on me. So it's definitely drip.
I think it's swaggy. I ain't gonna lie. Basketball long sleeve is you got to be elite to have it on though. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
I feel like the same goes for football. Like you got a long sleeve, you better come with it. Like
Yeah, I mean, if you're hooping with a long sleeve on, like, and you're a burger, done. Like, that's super skip. That's super skip.
For sure.
Now, something I never really understood, like the mouthpieces, is when they wear like 8 wristbands. Like you have the wristbands going all the way down the arm. What do you think about that?
I never understood that either. What's that about?
Yeah, I mean, it's really like a headhunter tendency. Like if you are hitting it like a safety or a linebacker who's just fitting the box, like you can wear like hella wristbands. I don't care. Like you're just hitting stuff the whole game. So I feel like that's more like a defensive thing. If your offense wearing a lot of wristbands, then that's skip. I think if you're defense, then that's drip.
All right, now what is going on in FSU? It seems like they can't get a win against opponents they really should beat. Georgia Tech should be a winnable game. Memphis, I will give credit, has had a great start, and they do look pretty good. And BC, I would say the same. Bill O'Brien going in as a head coach there. But, I mean, their offense just can't get anything going. I know it's a defensive school, and it's always been. But, I mean, I think in those 3 games, he's only thrown for 1 touchdown.
I mean,
he's only thrown for 1 touchdown.
Hard time to start. I mean, last game, we look at the numbers, 16 for 30, 201 yards, no touchdowns.
Yeah, he's only thrown for 1.
You know, and he had more rushing attempts than anybody else on the team for negative 16 yards, which is insane. But, you know.
Hey, free my boy DJ, man. Free my boy DJ. I mean, you talking about, like, he has everything you can't coach. Like, you're talking about size, strength, ability. Like, that's the stuff you can't coach. So, when you look at FSU early in the year, I mean, you look at a lot of teams early in the year, like, the thing about college football nowadays is the transfer portal NIL has made like the distance between teams razor thin. Like, yeah, you say, oh, you know, they lost to Georgia Tech, they lost to Boston College. Like, Boston College and Georgia Tech are able to get transfers. They're able to get guys with NIL that make them able to compete with those teams at a higher level than they used to. So it may seem like it's a huge deal, and obviously it will. Like, I mean, your Florida State, they went undefeated last year, now they're 0-3. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
but they have a quarterback who has all the intangibles and can fix it as long as he just locks in. So, free my boy DJ. I think Florida State gonna start rolling soon.
They got some hard games too left on the schedule. Miami,
I think this was the easier part of their schedule, personally.
Miami, Notre Dame, Clemson, Florida. They got some elite teams got to go against. So,
I mean, I think it's also fair to say Jordan Travis was a Heisman candidate before he went down. So it's kind of hard to when a quarterback steps into that program. But I also do think that the transfer going from Oregon State to going to Florida State was tough for DJ because everybody knows Pac-12 doesn't play defense. So it's a lot easier to score in the Pac-12 last year than it is scoring in the ACC. The ACC is a very hard conference in scoring. So I think this is a wake-up for DJ. And because of that, I mean, his IQ is all over the place. Like, I don't know what he's looking at on the field, but it seems like he's just gunslinging it. You know, it doesn't even pay attention to what's out there or what's open. And it's concerning because IQ is something that develops. So seeing him, you know, he's a senior now. So seeing him as a senior struggle at IQ is something you don't want to see because he doesn't have much time to fix that. And that's what his problem was at Clemson. So that's why I was scared he's going to have the same problem with Florida State with that ACC struggle. So I don't know if he can fix it, honestly. I think it's just going to be downhill from here. Okay, so going into their season, you had a win against LIU, then back-to-back loss against West Virginia and Idaho. However, what I will say is these are by far the 2 hardest games you had to play with Idaho and West Virginia. Idaho really, in my opinion, can beat a lot of FBS teams. I know they're FCS school, but they made it close against Oregon. And Oregon's a top school with Dylan Gabriel, a quarterback. And I think it was a 10-point game. Beat Wyoming. Wyoming was supposed to have a decent year this year. So that, you know, they're going to be a very hard school to compete against. And West Virginia, their first game when they lost was against Penn State. You can't really expect teams to beat Penn State this year with Drew Allar, Nick Singleton, you know, Penn State defense. So, I mean, I'm not concerned at all for this season. And, you know, LIU, I think there was a little bit of, you know, shaking the rust off, getting familiar with the team. I think if you replayed them now, it'd be a lot bigger of a difference. Now, next game you play against Maine for the Hometown Heroes game. What can we expect from that?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the first 3 games, like I think our coach talks about a lot, like it's really about figuring out what type of team you are. And, I mean, you know, through 3 games, we kind of figured it out, right? And it's easier to respond and go into conference play and use this bye week, knowing what type of team you are through the first 3 games versus figuring out late in the year, you know. So we're nipping some of the things in the butt early that we can to go into conference play strong. But you know, we go into a conference play against Maine, and they're going to come out fighting. I mean, we're defending conference champions, so everyone's gonna have our number when, especially when they come to town. So, the team morale is up. We played 2 tough opponents. You can make an excuse. You want to win those games, but at the end of the day, it's the same position they were in last year. I wasn't part of the team last year, but they're 1-2 coming out of week 3, and they were able to do a lot of things. So, I think we're gonna have those same opportunities.
Yeah, we're rooting for you guys, of course. Currently at number 9 in the CAA, but looking further past, just this upcoming game, Delaware at number 2, New Hampshire at 6, Stony Brook 7, Rhode Island 3. It kind of like how we were talking before we started the podcast. These are games that you can just build on and just raise the level each time, and I think that it'd be great for you guys. So
yeah, no doubt. At the end of the day, it's my first year starting. I'm on going into my 4th career start. The next game we play. And then conference play is also, it's make or break, right? You only get so many opportunities to drop a game in conference to be able to still achieve the things you want to achieve. So it'll be the first time I'm playing each of these teams. It's going to be fun. I think the morale is up. I think we've shown a lot of spurts in the past game. I think we're, up top in the country in terms of FCS and passing yards. So a lot of things are looking up. We got some guys coming back that we're going to need down the line, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, something I definitely want to touch on it was very exciting watching that second quarter of West Virginia.
Yeah.
Seven McGee really went off, and it seemed like the passing game really clicked, and then he went down with the injury, and it seemed like it wasn't able to get back to where it was, and then you guys lost I'm trying to think of a word. Lost. I'm going to say something else. You guys lost rhythm of the game, and it just got away from you guys. So what can you do next time to not allow the games to get away from you?
Yeah, against great teams, the margin for error is razor thin, right? So when you get opportunities to score, we had 2 opportunities on 4th down to get conversions, and especially the one at the 1-yard line. Those are opportunities where, you cut I think at the time it would have been to a 7-point game, right? Or, we get a stop, and then in the second half we go in, or the end of the first half, and we go into halftime down 7, we get the ball coming out of the half. So, opportunities like that where you have a chance to cut that game or even tie that game, that's the difference between winning and losing. And that's the thing that you figure out maybe the hard way through the first 3 games, but you figure it out. And that's always good for, moving down the line on your schedule.
Always. You want to be playing your best game at the end of the season.
Exactly.
Definitely. And I will say I really do like the wide receiver core this season. Levi Wentz, Carter, and of course, Seven McGee. So those are 3 great receivers. And last season we had 2 NFL receivers. And I really do think these receivers are just on the same level. Carter came from Georgia State, and Georgia State last season was incredible. They had one of their best seasons in program history. So to really see the receiving core you guys have, obviously all freshmen, one of the best freshmen last season, I think he was the best freshman last season, was Griffin Waddell. So the offense, I think, is stacked this season, and I think because of that, I think we should see a lot more success come out within the next few weeks.
No doubt.
All right, now a big question here. I'm not going to say it yet, but is NIU legit?
It's looking like it.
You think so?
It's looking like it. 16-14 win against Notre Dame.
And then a big win
time.
after that. I think they won by 50. See, to me, I think we got to see the NC State game first. If they beat NC State,
then you'll get the stamp, Jason stamp of approval.
Because I hate to say it, but I've always thought Notre Dame were frauds. I think every time a quarterback transfers to Notre Dame, their career goes down the drain. We've seen it with Sam Hartman, who looked like one of the best Wake Forest quarterbacks of all time, and then Riley Leonard with Duke. It just seems like they just can't get these transfer guys to really adjust to their offense. So, obviously Notre Dame destroyed Purdue, but, Purdue's nothing to write home about. So I think what we see Notre Dame do in the next few games will say a lot about the NIU win.
Right. You look at Northern Illinois, the thing you're figuring out about college football is if you have a legit defense, you can beat anybody. If you can get stops, I think they won 16-14, or had kicked a late field goal. So, they're holding them under 20 points. If you can hold the other team to under 20 points, you'll give your team a chance to win, no matter how good your offense is. So, I think their defense is legit. They're close to home, so I'm familiar with that team. I'm familiar with the coaches. Some guys on the team are from my block. So, it's pretty cool to see them have success, but that defense is pretty stacked.
All right, now we see Michigan make a change at quarterback, which I honestly was pretty shocked about because they won. Usually you don't see these things happen when you're winning. But Alex Orji, I think, is a tremendous quarterback, and I can understand why, because at the end of the day, you expect to really destroy Arkansas State. They only won by 10. So I can understand the reasoning, but you got to feel bad for the guy for getting benched after a win.
Yeah, 6 interceptions through 3 games is it's not numbers to be proud of. But I think Orji came in, scored immediately on his first pass in the game against Arkansas State, and they ended up, finishing the job. So, but shout out to him.
Yeah, he's built like a brick house, So like when you have a guy back there, especially with the type of running backs they have over there, a guy who can run the ball himself, he also got like a huge arm. So he's gonna be able to be a dynamic player for them. So, I'm happy for him. I'm excited for him, and we'll see what happens.
Definitely, I think with you said it first. Through a lot of interceptions. That's to me the key difference between college football and the NFL. The NFL, you're winning, you're not getting benched. But in college football, you can't just win. You have to show an individual performance, or they'll be looking to replace you. It's a lot shorter of a leash, and that's really what's scary for these guys. A great example with Michigan, of course, is with McNamara. They were a great team with him, and then they made the switch to JJ, and he lost his job. It seems like Michigan is ready to get rid of a quarterback if they see underperformance. And we also saw her with Georgia with JT. So it's tough. JT Daniels, had to go to Rice, had to go to a lot of colleges because he got replaced in Georgia by Stetson Bennett. It makes sense. These guys are smarter than we are. Georgia won a championship with Stetson Bennett, so it makes sense that they're doing it. It's just tough for the players themselves who have to really have the pressure of being replaced within bad performances.
Absolutely.
Right. it's a business at the end of the day, right? Like, the coaches got to go home and feed their families, right? Like, and they're depending on us, right, as players to produce. So, especially at the quarterback position, there's really not a long leash for, inability, right? Like, there's no now, especially nowadays where the coaching carousel and the transfer portal and coaches will just jump ship and so will players. Like, it's almost like you don't really have that much time to figure things out anymore, right? So that's why you see a lot of teams, just going to get a portal guy to be their starter instead of, recruiting and developing. Like, you don't see a lot of guys who are now starters. They were recruited there, were there for 4 years, stuck it out, and then were named the starter. Like, you don't see it a lot. Like, even here, like I transferred in. So it's becoming a different dynamic, but at the end of the day, like I said, coaches got to feed their families and quarterbacks got to produce.
Now, I just brought up Georgia. Georgia's now replaced as the number 1 seed. I personally don't understand it.
I understand it absolutely. They
think Texas is the number 1 team?
Absolutely. Watching that Georgia game against Kentucky, they struggled. Kentucky's great. Defensive-minded team, but they struggled. And
they beat Clemson. They have good wins.
Yeah, but
you think Texas has as good? They had the win against Michigan, but Fresno State's nothing to write home about. And Arkansas State?
Texas gives me like that 2019 LSU vibe. Like, they got dynamic players everywhere. Their defense is stout. They got a QB, and they got two QBs. Like, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
Edwards went down. Manning came in, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Come on.
Yeah, a lot of people are concerned about that injury because of how it happened. The problem is they announced he got hurt the play after. Well, he got hurt the play before, but didn't come out to the play after. So people thought he just fell on the floor and it was to get Arch in the game. But they're blowing out teams that are, that they're paying. They're paying these teams to beat them. So I don't think it's something that.
They didn't pay Michigan.
Yeah. Michigan.
Michigan.
I hate to tell you this. Michigan isn't Michigan. They're not the same Michigan. I know Donovan Edwards is,
I'll tell you this, that their next game's against Alabama. So if they they beat Alabama.
They're not going to beat Alabama.
They shouldn't be number 1. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I think if you're telling me right now what Texas team's better this year or last year, I'm going to say last year was better. I love Isaiah Bond, but he's no Xavier Worthy and he's no Xavier Worthy and Donna Mitchell. You can't forget that. And then the year before they had Bijan. This is a team that's always having these stars, and you can't tell me that this is the best team they've had in the last few years.
I don't care what type of team they got up there in Ann Arbor. It's hard to walk in the big house and
this is not the same Michigan that we're seeing in the recent years.
They beat them up though. They win the big, like we talked about before the podcast. Like that's 100-some thousand people yelling down your neck, like to go in there and put up. Like I think they beat
the brakes
off them. So like,
31.
They're definitely valid. I mean, Quinn Ewers is a dog.
Definitely.
Arch Manning, dog. Like Isaiah Bond, dog. Like they got all type of people on that team.
Depth.
Definitely got depth there. And I mean, you make a great point. I mean, honestly, we're going to see this week if they're going to stay 1. I mean, obviously beat Bama, they're going to be 1. I'm sorry. I think Jalen Milroe will take that game. I mean, we've seen Bama, they've been solid. I mean, the first game they were struggling, but then they went 30-0 in the second half. Even though Nick Saban's not there anymore, all I thought about was Nick Saban in my head because that's the most Nick Saban thing I've ever seen. Alabama struggling in the first half, and the second half is just a blowout. So it seems like they're well coached still, and I think that you know SEC. I mean, Texas just got into the SEC this season.
Yeah, they're gonna have to play Georgia. At some point in the season.
That's gonna be a great game.
Is that game at Texas or at Bama?
I have to fact check that.
that might change the whole dynamic. If it's in Texas, then okay.
You got Texas in Texas,
but yeah. If that game's in Tuscaloosa, though, maybe not.
Tuscaloosa.
I mean, Jalen Milroe he's a dog. I mean, like I watched him last week against my last team. I mean, he looked like a running back out there, still throwing a deep ball well. So, I mean, if that game's in Texas, then it's a whole different ball game. But if it's in Bama, then I think probably Roll Tide.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to go to Tuscaloosa and win. I mean, we've obviously seen it happen, you know, a lot of times with Auburn, but it's something that you don't see often. And when it happens, it hurts. It hurts there's nothing else there. There really isn't.
There's nothing there. All they got is SEC football and some decent food. And don't quote me on that. I'm not hating on the South. But that's really all they got down there.
Something we unfortunately have to bring up for former Crimson Tide, Tua Tagovailoa goes down with another concussion that you just don't want to see. Now, you being a quarterback, this has to be scary to watch.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I've had my fair share of head injuries, not maybe as severe, but you know, when you think about like the modern day technology, you look at guys like CTE. You know, the effects of guys having all these head injuries and how they, you know, as they age and they get these like suicidal thoughts and things like that, you hate to hear about that stuff. Like, it's like the football fraternity is something that's super tight knit, and you hate to see guys get injured. You hate to see guys, especially like concussions, where they're as severe to where now they're concerned about someone's health, right, and their long term health. So, I just hearing stuff about him, like, as a competitor, you don't want to just like hang it up. Like, you know, people's like, oh, you know, he's got to retire.
That was my next question. I was going to ask, you think he should retire? He's 4 concussions in.
I can't speak for another man. If it was me, you know, knowing me, I'm stubborn. Like, there's no way I could hang it up, right? Like, you play football your whole life. Everyone else is telling you to retire, right? And probably and you probably should, right? But at the end of the day,
he's still young too.
He's still young. 26. He's got so much money left to make.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
He's only on his first big contract, right? So, like, if there's more money, I mean, he's a great player. Like, he's gonna get more and more contracts, more and more money. So it's hard to just say, yeah, I'm gonna hang it up and displace my future earnings and my future success. So
I hate to say it, but his contract is built very, very player friendly. If he retires today, he takes home $123 million guaranteed after the insurance, because I think $46 million insured for the Dolphins.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, it's not 4 concussions. It's 3 really bad concussions where, you know, his fingers are moving weird. And I mean, we saw after that Bills game, he got up and then fell right back on the ground. I mean, and he was paralyzed against the Bengals. And I mean, I mean, if you had the option to take out $124 million home right now, and it's tough. I mean, that's why they placed him on the IR, and he's talking about it with medical. And now remember, this is only guaranteed if medical officials say he can retire. If medical doctors do not say he's medically retired, he will get nothing.
I think if he makes a decision to retire, they'll help him out.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, to him, if you really think about it, it's probably not even about the money. Like you think $123 million guaranteed or the opportunity to play in the NFL for, countless years. He's still young. I think everyone would take the NFL experience.
So as a Finns guy, what are your thoughts on the Bryce Young to Miami talks?
We got Snoop. We signed Snoop for a reason. Remember, Tyler Huntley, it was a play. Oh, no, sorry. Tyler Huntley's a Pro Bowl quarterback. And I hate to say it. I mean, Lamar's Lamar, but I mean, Tyler Huntley is probably the closest you can get to like a Lamar-style quarterback. I really do like him fitting in Miami. Skylar Thompson's a bum. Don't want to see him. He's awful. He's done nothing. He's had multiple games to prove himself, and he's just awful. One of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. I mean, the fact that we lost that Bills playoff game and we had multiple defensive touchdowns is remarkable. But Tyler Huntley, I do think, is a good backup option. I'm happy we signed him. Now, obviously, I want Tua because Tua is one of the best passing quarterbacks in the league. I mean, we've seen it year in, year out. But at the end of the day, it's scary because you don't really a lot of athletes say you don't realize how impactful concussions are because it's not like an arm or a leg. When it heals, you think everything's perfect and back to normal, but you don't know the long-term effects of it. With an arm, if you get surgery, you're still going to feel the wear and tear from that surgery, but that's not how concussions work. I mean, I'm going to be honest here. I think he 100% comes back. I don't see him retiring because I feel like because of what we talked about in other podcasts with what he has to prove, I don't think he's going to let it hang up, even though that's probably what he should do, and that's what all of these and former NFL players that have been through this are saying. That's all right. Now with where you brought up with Bryce Young is now benched in Carolina. This could be the worst move you could possibly do because one, they're 0-2. Two, all right, let's say they have a decent season, win 9 or 10 games, right? Just missed the playoffs or maybe even made the playoffs. What do you gain from that? You just lost the number 1 pick. I don't understand what the point is.
Traded a lot for.
Exactly. I mean, they could have got CJ Stroud and saved a lot.
I mean, no doubt. I mean, number one way to kill a kid's confidence, man, put him on the bench second year. Like, I mean, it's not. I mean, the only way you can get better is reps, right? Like,
Absolutely.
He's not going to get much
exactly
better on the bench.
point.
So if you want to see him come back and be a better player, he's not going to do that from the bench. You have to let him go through the adversities and the trials of a season. And obviously, like, you could say that was last year, but that's his rookie season. Like, this is his year 2. How does he handle adversity? How does he respond? And that's by putting him on the bench, now he doesn't get that opportunity. So, I mean, obviously, they have Andy Dalton. Like, he's a proven veteran. Like, he'll probably be able to manage the offense and try to get things going. But, taking your second-year quarterback and throw him on the bench after 2 games, I get it. I get it's rough, right? It looks rough out there, but you never know how a kid's going to respond.
Yeah, I mean, they have an awful offensive line, so we don't even know if Andy Dalton's going to be able to respond because offensive line is the most important part of an offense. If you have no offensive line, you're not going to have an offense going. We've seen that in Chicago as well. Now, the thing that really disappoints me about this decision is you have 2 ways to develop a quarterback. One, you start him, throw him right into the fire, you give him a lot of reps, and eventually, hopefully he gets it going. Or 2, you do the J. Love method. You have him sit for a few years behind a veteran quarterback, and then once the veteran quarterback gets shipped out, then you give him his chance. If they had Andy Dalton in there his rookie year and didn't have him play but have him learn behind Dalton, that makes sense. But you're going to absolutely destroy this guy's confidence and make him feel like he can't do it in the NFL. And now right when he's finally learning an offense, you're going to make him have to relearn it again because, I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, if Andy Dalton doesn't win enough games to make the playoffs, they're probably going to have a coaching change and they're going to have to go through all of this. And I just don't understand if they're not Super Bowl contenders, which they're not, you're not going to gain anything out of it. And I think he's just going to regress the franchise, unfortunately.
Or they're just tanking. Maybe they're just tanking.
Tank for Cam Ward.
They want Cam Ward out of the draft. Maybe they're just tanking.
But now this is another problem that you brought up is the short leash with rookie quarterbacks is disgusting now. I mean, we're seeing it now with Bryce Young. We saw it with Justin Fields. I mean, it seems like in the NFL, you do not show that you're a star quarterback your rookie year, which is very, very hard to do. You're out. And it's insane how quick teams are to just get new quarterbacks. And I actually think it's ruining the game because rookie quarterbacks, it's very rare for them to be stars right out of the gate because it's the NFL. I mean, college and the NFL is a huge leap, just like college is a huge leap from high school. So to really expect these guys to be like a CJ Stroud or Baker Mayfield is really tough. So I think because of that, they really have to put in consideration, like it's an investment, a long-term investment, not a short-term investment. If you want a short-term investment, go get a veteran, have him play for a few years and get a new veteran and keep going that way. But I think with how the NFL is going, it's really destroying QB development. And we've seen it, how many failed quarterbacks we've seen is insane. We've seen it, like I said, with Bryce Young, which we're seeing now. We see it with Justin Fields.
Kenny Pickett
is a great example. I mean, it just seems like there's no quarterbacks, besides Stroud in like the last few years that we're actually seeing given a real chance.
Right. I mean, I feel like it's a money thing nowadays. Like, the rookie contracts are so small for, like, look at Brock Purdy. Like, he's literally an MVP candidate making like dirt cheap money.
But they're not even letting them play out their rookie contract.
Yeah.
Because Justin Fields on his rookie deal. We have, obviously, Bryce Young's on his rookie deal. I would understand that. But they're not even giving 4 years to develop, which is incredible. Now, with that being said, yes, you bring a great point up is how financially, how cheap the NFL is really being now with running backs is a great example. It seems like you got a rookie running back in there 4 years, draft another rookie running back, and it just seems like, running backs are getting very underpaid now, and the wear and tear in their body. It seems like, why be a running back anymore?
Look at Saquon. Like, I saw that funny clip on Hard Knocks, like, yeah. If Saquon goes to Philly, I'm not going to sleep again. And I know that last night they were talking about, I guess that guy's not sleeping too good. So, but like, think about losing an all-world player like Saquon Barkley just because you don't want to pay him. Like, it's crazy how they value running backs nowadays.
Yeah, it's hard to see running backs stay. Another example is Josh Jacobs, who just went to Green Bay. The Raiders didn't want him, and now Zamir White's struggling. Madison hasn't done anything in his career.
Yeah, thank you to the Raiders, by the way. Go Pack.
So it doesn't make any sense with what's happening here with these running backs that, Derrick Henry, just got shipped to Baltimore. It just seems like it's a running back carousel every year. Teams just try to get rid of their running backs. And then the rookies, right, when their contract comes, they're not getting re-signed. The guaranteed money is awful at running back just because of the injuries, which is tough. That how this business works. When, the more risk you have, the less money you're getting, which it should be the opposite.
Right. The best ability is availability. So, they're not going to pay a guy a bunch of money and,
That's the unfortunate reality when, morally speaking, you really shouldn't be paid more if you're going to take more of a beating on your body.
Right.
So it's tough to see happen, but I really hope that this gets fixed out because we've seen it in the past, running backs who just get huge contracts. And now they're starting to realize that because of the injuries, it's not worth it. Remember Jamal Charles, who was never healthy for the Chiefs, and he was getting paid big bucks. AP, same example. So hopefully they get the money they deserve. But running backs, it seems like a dying position in the league.
Yeah, it's almost like every other position. They're finally starting to pay the O-line. Like, It used to be just you pay your left tackle, right? But now, you see centers, you see guards, you see right tackles getting big money. And shout out to those boys up front.
Receivers used to be the opposite. They used to get paid nothing, and now they're really starting to get paid big bucks. Now it's like $35 million a year. We've seen with Jettas, and Hill has $30 million a year. So it's really receivers. It seems like everyone should be a receiver because that's where all the money is.
Get your money up.
Now the segment we have here is I'm going to name all the 0-2 teams, and we're going to say if they're in or out of the playoffs. First one, I think, is an easy one: Panthers.
Yeah, they're done.
No.
Yeah, that's the first pick right there, probably. If I were to ask me.
The next team we have here is the Tennessee Titans.
See, that's a wild card one. I feel like that's a team that could maybe find its tune down the road.
Historically, since 2002, I looked it up. There's 1 in every 10 teams make the playoffs after starting 0-2.
Mm-hmm.
Last year 9. And last year it was the Texans who made it and ended up losing to the Ravens.
Because who's in the AFC South? It'd be what? The Titans, the Colts,
the Jags,
the Jags, and the Texans, right?
Jags are
so we'd have to imagine that the Texans would probably win that division. So it's not like the Titans are going to get the free bid with the divisional championship.
Texans are getting a free bid. There's 302 teams in that.
But Texans, that's a good team though, and they got Stephon now too. So it's And then Nico Collins looks like a dog.
Yeah, poor Tank Dell's really getting a lot less participation in that offense after Diggs came in. And that's Stroud's boy. I mean, Stroud's the reason he got drafted to the Texans. So we have the Titans out?
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but probably not.
I think it's an easy out personally, just because Will Levis is done after the season. We've seen this frustration they had after that late game fumble to win the game. It's so sad to see. The coach literally said it's all his fault. We lost because of him. Didn't take any responsibility for it.
And the Titans gave the Pack the backup. I mean, Malik Willis. Yeah. It's funny how he comes to the Pack and we get a win, and then you look at Tennessee and they're struggling. So, it's funny. I actually trained with Malik during his draft prep, and it's pretty cool to see him playing for my hometown team now. So he's balling, and I'm sure that Tennessee thinks the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, their defense is so good. That's the problem. But like I said, their lackluster offense, I think it's what's going to keep them on. I don't think it's going to be close. I think they're going to be battling for the number one pick, honestly. Next, we have a team that is also in the AFC South. We have the Jaguars. This team I expected to be a lot better than they are now.
Yeah, I felt like there was a little more expectation for him.
You paid Trevor Lawrence big bucks, right? You want to see reap the benefits of giving him that money, but that's another team where it's like, okay, the Jags, recently they've been pretty good, right? Like, I mean, last year you look at them in the playoffs, year before. I think they made the playoffs the year before, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and they blew the Chargers blew a crazy lead to the Jaguars. Crazy. Shout out T-Law for getting it done.
Yeah, crazy lead. But that's a team, especially in that division, like they're going to play Tennessee twice. They're going to play Indianapolis twice. Like, you're going to have opportunities to maybe sneak out of that division or maybe be like a wild card team. So, honestly, I'll say Jacksonville is in the playoffs at 0-2.
You agree with that pick?
I think the only 0-2 team.
We can't say yet.
Well, yeah, okay. I'll wait my turn. My bad.
You can't spoil the segment here.
Yeah, I'll wait my turn.
So you have them.
No,
okay.
No.
Now we have the last team from the AFC South is the Colts. We finally see AR healthy, and it seems like all we see is struggle from that offense, which is unfortunate. I mean, Michael Pittman had a great season last season before he got hurt. They got into Donnie Mitchell in the second round, Alec Pierce, and it seems like they can't get any of them going. I mean, Alec Pierce had a big reception, but I mean, with all the talent and young potential this offense has, this isn't going to be the year for them, for me at least. But they have a lot of potential to build something out of it.
No doubt, yeah. I don't think they'll make the playoffs this year. I do think they'll, like you said, they'll probably be a team in the next 2, 3, 4 years that will be a team to compete.
No.
The next one is unfortunate because of injuries is the Los Angeles Rams. We've seen Kupp go down. We've seen Nakua go down. Seems like they can't keep any receivers healthy with DeMarcus Robinson being their number one option right now.
Easy answer. No.
I mean, ever since that Super Bowl run, I feel like it's been downhill. So I'm not really sure where they're going. I know like everyone has their wits about Sean McVay and how good of a coach he actually is when you don't have like studs on defense. But I'll probably go with no.
It's funny you brought that up because the opponent they played in that Super Bowl is also into another team that has performed since the Super Bowl is the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, that's too early. Too early. I mean, I know the week 1 loss wasn't ideal, but you go into Arrowhead and you lose a tight one to Kansas City, defending champs. Like they're fine. They'll make the playoffs.
I like that take. Well, I'll roll with Myles on that. Possibly. That's not my team, though. That's not who I'm,
I know you're Florida boy. We're going to get up to it. Now, what I want to say about this, and I think it's important to notice, is they can't make the playoffs. Joe Burrow doesn't stay healthy. And he hasn't. I mean, we've barely seen this guy stay healthy. And when we do, we see greatness. But, I mean, it seems also like that leg is bothering him because we don't see him run like he used to. So I don't think he's fully recovered, and I think that's going to hurt him. They can definitely make the playoffs. I also think there's problems in the receiving game because, one, Jamar Chase, I think, is a hothead at this point. I mean, we've seen him yelling at refs and getting penalties, with the whole contract in his head and everything like that. It seems like his mind's not in football. And then T. Higgins can't get on the field. So because of all this happening, they're going to have to really get all this sorted out if they want to make a playoff run 0-2. Now the next team we have is one of the biggest disappointments in the state, the New York Giants.
No.
Sorry to all my New York people, but it's not happening.
Yeah.
Hey, you got a diamond in the rough from Malik Neighbors. Like, don't get me wrong, he was gonna be Pro Bowl level receiver for years to come, but it's just not in the cards.
Is Daniel Jones done after this season as a starter in New York?
I mean, it depends who comes out of this QB class, honestly.
I have a lot. You have Carson Beck, you have Q Ewers, Shador, Cam Ward, obviously, Jackson Dart, one of my favorites.
Right. So there's definitely a plethora of names. So, I mean, you'd probably you have to agree that they'll have a top 5 pick, right? Like
they'll have a top 5 pick.
So, I mean, you'd have to. They almost went quarterback this last year.
Yeah, they almost went Daniels.
So, to think that they would go 2 years in a row without taking a quarterback is probably insane. So, they're definitely not making the playoffs, but they'll definitely be looking for a quarterback.
Last team we have, I know Justin's waiting for this.
Absolutely. The Baltimore Ravens. They're going to figure it out. Derrick Henry's going to get it together. They need to give him the ball more. You know, he's a freaking tank. Lamar Jackson's going to get together. O-line needs to step up a little bit, but I think they'll get into the playoffs.
I hate to say it. Is the problem in Baltimore the greatest kicker of all time, Justin Tucker?
He definitely sold.
Yeah.
I will say he did so.
He's definitely been like the best kicker every year for like how long, right? I mean, to not and it's like he's a kicker, man. Like I get it, kicking is hard, right? But like if you're like right, like yeah, I see the kickers at practice, bro. Like they do not do anything. Like all you have to do is kick the ball through the uprights, man. Like
it's a lot of pressure though, man.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure to be a kicker.
But yeah, Ravens don't make the playoffs. AFC North is tough. Don't get me wrong. Like Steelers,
undefeated right now.
Bengals, Browns. Like,
Browns aren't scary. They're frauds. Deshaun Watson.
They'll play everyone close. Deshaun Watson will have at least 6 fake games. Like you know what I'm saying. So like it's a tough division, but I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, but like I was saying before, do you think Justin Tucker's a problem there?
No, like at the end of the day, I think it would be fine. Like it's. Just kick the
Remember,
ball,
though,
kick the ball.
A big stat to realize is kickers are 35 out of 37 from 50 plus, with both misses being from Tucker.
Oh wow!
So he's the only kicker in the league who's missed 50 plus. And if they would have made the kick, they would have won. It's that simple. So it's tough to see. And remember, he's not that old. I know 35 is old for football, but it's not for kickers. Remember, Vinatieri was 47 when he started to decline.
47.
So that's why it's also scary because we've seen him so solid for so long that we've already called him the GOAT.
Right.
But the longevity of Vinatieri makes it more of a debate now because I don't think Tucker's going to do this for another 2-3 years. Think about 12.
No.
Yeah.
47 years old.
47 years old is insane.
I would even want to play football that long.
Yeah, like
as a kicker, I mean.
Okay, but hear me out, right? You still have the same
you don't have the same
schedule as everyone else, right? Like you may not have the same physical requirements.
But think of the training camp. The training camp must be a breeze.
But still, training camp. I mean, specialists. I just know specialists they barely meet, they barely practice. Like 2 hours of pre-practice, being in the hot tub and get your leg right. Go kick the ball, man.
That's why I'm starting to really think about it again. I really think you might have to give Vinatieri the edge as of now because of how long he was dominant for. Yeah. He's the reason the Patriots won a Super Bowl. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens next year. But if we see Tucker keep struggling, I think he's going to slip out of that number 1 spot and it's going to go to Vinatieri. The next game we have is a dream QB build here. We're going to have to try to build a quarterback to win MVP. And you're going to save the MVP quarterback. Now you have $15 to spend. And the 5 categories is IQ, elusiveness, throw power, size, and accuracy. IQ, obviously $5 option. We got to go Tom Brady. Easily the most.
So we're going all-time quarterbacks.
Yeah, all-time.
Okay.
It's really hard to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 with the current quarterback.
Right, yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah, Tom Brady for sure. There's also a lot of like Drew Brees. That's a good IQ. Trying to think who else.
Peyton
Manning.
Wow, that's number 4 option is Peyton Manning. Number 3, Kurt Warner, still pretty high IQ.
That's not bad.
So it gets a little tough. We get Jay Cutler at 2. At number 1, we got Ryan Leaf.
Oh my gosh. So Peyton Manning's the 4 option.
Yeah.
See, I think we go Peyton Manning,
Manning.
though, because think about it. Don't spend all your money on IQ. You can get crazy accuracy, crazy throw power. But if you get the IQ of, the sheriff, like, you got a decent quarterback.
All right, we're going Peyton Manning.
I personally $11 right now.
Yep, I personally would have went Kurt Warner. I thought for a 3, he was a steal. Now, elusiveness, 5, a Lamar, obviously best option there. 4, we got Vic. I mean, Vic, obviously very elusive, very, very elusive. 3, another one is Steve Young. Also, he's pretty good for a running quarterback, especially in his day. 2, we have Brock Purdy. And number 1, we have Matt Stafford.
Definitely not Matt.
Nah, yeah, we might have to.
He runs if he has to.
See, but like,
I don't think elusiveness should be like
Brock Purdy's elusiveness is
sorry.
It's good. Like,
it's not Steve Young. It's not Lamar.
Oh, no doubt. But here's the thing, though. Like, if we got the IQ of Peyton Manning, like, we're making checks at the line, we're changing plays, we're getting out of bad scenarios. We just need enough elusiveness.
Yeah, you're right.
To limit negative plays. So I think if we go Brock Purdy, save some money, have some decent elusiveness.
Great pick.
He's a $2 one.
Great pick. Now, throw power we have next. 5, we have Brett Favre. 4, we have John Elway. 3, we have Dan the Man Marino. 2, we have Baker Mayfield. And 1, we have Christian Ponder.
Oh my gosh. This is turning into a random QB name generator.
No, I went deep in my bag for this one.
Yeah, I feel like you
Christian Ponder.
That's crazy.
This is for throw power?
Yeah.
Is Baker in there, you said?
Yeah, $2.
He can launch the ball, man.
Dan the Man at 3, I don't know.
Yeah, Marino at 3. Because we got how much? We got $9 left?
$9 left, yeah.
So if we go Baker, we'll have $7 for size and accuracy.
Yeah.
But I feel like size, unless it's Kyler, like you're kind of chilling.
Yeah, and you have 2 other options.
I think Dan Marino, you got to go.
Great pick. Greatest quarterback in Dolphins history.
Yeah, I like that.
Arguably greatest quarterback of all time, if you ask me. Just from, not accolades-wise, but actual skill. I mean, no one can throw the ball like that.
Aaron Rodgers, man. That's the best quarterback. Best thrower of football, walked the earth, Aaron Rodgers.
Now, next we have accuracy. Rodgers is in this, so good thing you brought him up. We have, as the $5 most accurate quarterback of all time, Drew Brees.
Yep.
4, we have Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
3, we have Deshaun Watson. 2, Geno Smith. And 1, Tim Tebow.
See, see if
Florida boy.
I'm not a Tebow.
See if this was
not claiming him.
No, I don't claim.
If this was earlier, I would definitely go Geno. Like Geno, he might be the most underrated QB in the whole league.
You get a $5 option at size.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. So, but you got to go Rodgers. I mean, nobody can throw the football like him ever.
What's he for?
Yep.
He's a $4 one. So,
all right,
you got to go Rodgers.
So size, you guys got $3 left.
Yeah, I think.
No, you don't.
No, we got $2.
$2 left.
Yeah,
$2 left.
You guys got $2 left.
So you might as well just give us the 2 options then.
No, I'm going through all of them. Let's see what you missed out on.
Who's the random?
So 5, we obviously have Big Ben. It was impossible to tackle that guy. 4, we have Cam Newton, another guy.
That's the $4 option? Cam Newton? I thought that'd be like a $6 option.
You think Cam should be above Big Ben?
Yeah, no doubt.
Super Cam.
6'5", 270.
Big Ben was fat. I mean,
but Cam Newton's running people.
All right. No, that's elusiveness. Okay, I'm saying size, like actual, just
6'5",
physical.
250, 8-pack.
I think Big Ben was definitely taller than 6'5". Big Ben was huge. I think he's like 6'7", 6'8". I mean, all right. What? Go to 3 option. We have Justin Herbert. 2, we have Kirk Cousins.
Oh, that's valid.
Yeah, I mean they're all pretty good. And then 1, we have Kyler.
Yeah, we can go Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Never put yourself in a scenario where you have to have Kyler's size. Unfortunately, he's a dog. He's
balling out right now.
But you don't want to be.
I think you guys
allegedly.
I think you guys might have done it.
Yeah,
so
that's a winning segment for me.
Your final quarterback is the IQ of Peyton Manning, the elusiveness of Brock Purdy, the throw power of Dan Marino, the accuracy of Geno Smith. Oh, no, sorry. The accuracy of Aaron Rodgers and the size of Kirk Cousins. That's a freaking good quarterback.
That's the best
That
quarterback.
might be the greatest quarterback of all time.
That might be the best dude of all time.
Yeah, I think if the Saints is segment to the greatest quarterback of all time, you guys might have done it.
Yeah,
I mean,
come on.
Rodgers didn't be in that.
Yeah, but we got his accuracy though.
Yeah,
All it takes.
But the elusiveness of Brock Purdy and the IQ of Peyton Manning, I mean,
Yeah, that's a
insane.
dog.
We got
That's a
enough.
dog.
Next segment we have is King of the Hill College Quarterback Edition. First matchup we have is KJ Jefferson versus Jalen Daniels.
Whew. See, that's a rough one because I feel like KJ Jefferson might have been a little better at Arkansas.
So hopefully DeMar doesn't hear that, UCF.
So I don't know. I'll probably have to go Jalen. He may not have shown exactly what type of player he is so far, but I think as the season goes on, he gets more comfortable. I think he was injured a lot last year, so he's still a guy who has to get his feet wet a little bit in terms of like getting back to the game. So I'm gonna take Jalen Daniels.
Jalen Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, we could see him going to the NFL. KJ Jefferson's not going to the NFL, unfortunately. Next one we have is Jalen Daniels versus Brady Cook.
I haven't watched a lot of Missouri games this year. I'm not gonna lie. Like I really can't. If you guys have any more insight, I feel like.
I mean, Brady Cook. This year's hard because the opponents they've been facing. But last year, I mean, him and Luther and the quarterback Schroeder, they were insane. I mean, I think they were one game away from making the college football playoffs as a 4-teamer. I mean, this is your guys' choice here, but I mean, we've seen the struggles from Jalen Daniels early this season.
Right.
Brady Cook is still an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to go Daniels for now.
Daniels.
Based off of and don't take it as like a final, but definitely Daniels.
Now this one, I'm very curious about is Jalen Daniels versus Jackson Dart.
Oh yeah, give me Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart throws darts.
I mean, like if you really take time to watch Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin's scheme, like it's hard to have guys running that wide open.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Trey Harris,
like guys are wide open, and that's just part of the scheme that Lane Kiffin has mastered. And obviously, you have a guy like Jackson Dart who's able to get the ball to guys in space. You're gonna have a pretty good time. So I think Ole Miss is gonna be. I think that's a sleeper team for the SEC.
Yeah. Oh, of course, they've been a sleeper team for years. I mean, last year, they had Judkins.
Right.
The unfortunate thing is, they're not as good of a team this year as they were last year. Losing Judkins. Right. And I mean, but the thing is, now you have a 12-team playoff, which is going to be very big.
I think that's going to be really interesting.
It's going to be a 12-team SEC playoff. Like I just know, like there's the 4 automatic bids, and then the rest of the guys are going to be SEC teams. I already know it's going to be all that type of SEC in there.
And the last one we have, I think you're going to lean towards him. It's Jackson Dart versus Jalen Milroe.
Honestly,
I kind of like Milroe.
I'll probably stay with Jackson Dart.
Ooh, I like that. I think he's better too, but I didn't think you were.
I think Jalen Milroe
got lucky last year in the last play when he threw for like a 50-yard touchdown. They should have lost that game.
That sounded personal.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, what do you do to you? No,
it's just Bama being Bama,
Yeah, no doubt.
They somehow find a way to win.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably like the closest thing to like a Cam Newton, Lamar type player that college football seen in a minute. I just think that.
What about Jalen Daniels?
I mean, Jalen Milroe's like he just looks the part. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you
pick Jackson Dart though, just so you're aware.
No, I know. I'm just saying, but like I'm trying to mitigate that. I think that Jalen Milroe is an excellent quarterback. I think that he doesn't get enough credit for how good he is as a passer per se. But like he's the type of guy when he steps off the bus, like.
You see it.
Yeah, he's a dude.
He got that look.
Yeah, he's a dude, right? But Jackson Dart, I feel like he's always been a guy who everyone's had huge expectations from, and he just more recently, like even last year, I think he's kind of met expectations. But I think this is the year where he can go above expectations, and if they have a good year, like he can be a type of guy where you're talking about a Heisman.
Yeah, I love the coaching in Ole Miss, and I think they have everything they need to succeed. Now, the last segment we have is blind ranking QBs. Just so you're aware, Justin's awful at these segments. Has messed up every time. I try to give it to him.
There's always one. Always one.
I tried to, throw him some bones here and there, but he just can't pick them up and just somehow messes up a list. We have Curry at 5.
Curry at 5, yeah.
We have, KCP at 2 or 3, above Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson, disrespect.
All right, so let's just get into it, and this will be messed up, and we'll just get over it.
I got a QB with me though, so I think I'll have a better,
All right. We thought the basketball player would get the basketball players correct, but
it's different.
What are you gonna do? It's different.
I could probably hammer a basketball one too. I know hoops now.
Oh, we gotta get you back on.
Yeah.
I know hoops now.
Get you back on here.
Milwaukee Bucks, NBA Finals.
All right. Never mind.
Don't tell me you're a Bucks fan.
That's where he's from.
My set.
Gosh, I forgot he's a Franklin, Wisconsin guy.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
Chris Middleton, most underrated player in NBA.
He's a bum.
The Bucks are a
great player.
Chris
but
Middleton?
He's just not getting enough.
Put it this way: life on the line. Give me Giannis the free throw line. Who cares?
Life on the line. Give me Chris Middleton mid range. Come on.
Well, I meant the opposite. I meant life on the line.
I was gonna say Giannis on the free throw line. I'm a little concerned about you.
Yeah, life is over.
I meant if I needed someone to miss a free throw, give me Giannis.
Absolutely.
Oh, no doubt.
But you know who's coming out the East this year?
Not the Knicks.
Who's coming out the West this year?
Not the
Heat
Knicks.
versus Suns will do it at the finals.
Heat versus Suns, yeah.
Not the Heat.
See that? He's a Bucks fan from the West. Oh no,
we can talk about it.
I mean, I think the Bucks have a better chance this year in the East, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll bring you back for the debate. Bring you back for that.
Now, all right, player and quarterbacks. Take it from me. One, we have Baker Mayfield.
I got 5 spots.
Yeah.
Okay. We're doing it together. Yeah.
All right, Baker Mayfield.
4.
I think that's fair because I don't want to put Baker at 3 and then it's I get Josh Allen, Mahomes, and Lamar, and then
you gotta watch him because he's
sneaky with it.
Sneaky with it.
I pre-write this though, so I'm not rigging anything here.
All right, yeah, I think Baker at 4 is solid.
Next we got Kirk.
5.
Yeah, I agree.
That'd be 5.
The sides.
I just see, but here's the thing though: we put Kirk at 5, and then we're gonna get Will Levis, and then we're gonna be cooked.
You want to put him at 3?
Yeah, put him at 3. Put Kirk at 3. See, this is recency bias.
No, you said 3. No,
because recency bias, right? He played on par last night against the Eagles.
On par.
And remember, I've done this before, and you fell for it with KCP.
This is true.
So I mean, you want to go 3 or 5? I mean,
go 3. Because Kirk is has been an MVP caliber before.
Right.
And the Falcons are decent. They got some weapons.
Yeah.
So put him at 3, Baker at 4. That's all right. I can live with that.
Next we got CJ Stroud.
1. 1.
There's always that last one.
There's 2
See,
left.
but Mahomes is it's too much of a comfort pick. I don't think Mahomes is on the list. I don't think so.
True. That's a
and
fair
CJ
take.
Stroud is sturdy. Don't get me wrong. CJ Stroud is an MVP caliber quarterback, and he's doing it again this year.
All right, we can go with Stroud.
Left, right. Let me see him do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is pretty sturdy, both on the field and in his celebrations. Now, next we have Lamar Jackson.
All right, 2. Yeah.
Yeah. I knew Lamar was coming.
I knew it was coming. Yeah.
And then we have Mahomes.
See?
See?
Mahomes at 5. Come on, bro.
So the list is Stroud, Lamar, which I don't agree with. I think Lamar's over Stroud. Then 3, we have Kirk Cousins. Then we have Baker Mayfield. And then we have Patrick Mahomes at 5.
I get cooked every time, bro.
It's incredible how bad you are. I don't know how hard, if it's that hard.
I had to say
No, but think about it. If you would have put Kirk at 5, it would be almost perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I would have put Stroud
At 2.
Yeah, probably, we'll put him at 2.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Just Talks. We'll see you next time.